as we zero in on the 25th of December on the purpose of Advent to recognize in the Christ child that God has become incarnate, it is good to turn our minds to Luke, the first chapter, and what we know today as the Magnificat. So Mary is visiting her cousin Elizabeth, and the child leaps in Elizabeth's womb. She's carrying John the Baptist, and just like King David danced before the Ark of the Covenant, John the Baptist is leaping in the womb of Elizabeth, and Mary recognizes what's happening, and she cries out in this song of joy and happiness and trust in God. So here's what you want to see in that reading. The first is this concept of divine reversals. Okay, we often get enamored with the idea of a revolution, right? Where something from the outside comes in and tears down whatever is set up, right? Whatever big systems of they get torn down by the raging waters of revolution. Sometimes it can appear like that, but God's way is actually a little bit different. It's like it's a way of a divine reversal, because the world we live in is the upside down clown world, right? The world we live in is the wrong way. So it's like God is untying the knots, right? Especially through the Virgin Mary, right? God is untying the knots that were tied up in sin. And so you see a kind of a reversal for all the things that have gone bad. So you see, for example, Mary is saying, He has mercy on those who fear him in every generation. He's shown the strength of his arm, and he has scattered the proud in their conceit. He's cast down the mighty from their thrones, and he has lifted up the lowly. This is God's big divine reversal. So just when you think things are going bad, it's not like the bad stops. It's like God finds a way for the bad to become the good. And I don't mean by blessing the bad. I definitely don't mean by taking what is bad and just calling it good. I mean what looks like a defeat, like Jesus on the cross, or the creator of the universe somehow squeezed into the body of this little baby human. What looks like maybe a defeat for the greatness of God, in fact becomes the very method, the means by which God is going to save us. And so it's a divine reversal that what looks like the problem becomes the solution. Okay? That's God's method. That's God's way of working, right? Number two is to recognize that this isn't a new thing, right? While it might feel new to us, right, when we recognize that God is winning or something like that, this is a promise made to our father Abraham and his children forever, right? This is a promise that God has made and has always been true. So we don't say, well, I'm just waiting for the end of time for God to finally come and save us. Yeah, we do. We wait for that moment. But also we recognize that from the very beginning, God made and established a covenant that has only become more and more fulfilled as time goes on. And so now you can read something like Mary's Magnificat, and you can see, even though it was written 2,000 years ago, you can see all through history numbers and numbers and numbers of times where it seemed like a martyr was being, murdered and wiped from the face of the earth. And yet we now look to those martyrs as saints, and we venerate them, and we know the words that they said are just so good and true, Or you can see Christians getting persecuted, and then this reversal of fortunes where, in fact, the Roman Empire expanding everywhere is carrying with it the seeds of Christianity, This is something that has always been true, and it's probably the reason why you're Catholic, either because your great ancestors became Catholic somewhere along the way, and so the truth has been passed on again and again, or maybe you just come to the Catholic Church from something else, and you say, I'm doing this because I recognize some ancient truth in the Catholic Church. I see in the institution of the church God's promise being kept from the beginning all the way up through now. If you can let your heart be formed by that, if you can let those concepts permeate what you understand the faith to be and what you understand the church to be, nothing's going to knock you off course. Nothing's going to rob you of your joy during this Christmas season that's to come. Nothing's going to make you doubt your faith. You will neither presume that everything's okay and there's no such thing as sin. No, not at all, right? But you're also not going to despair and think, well, I guess sin just wins now. Because it doesn't, and it never has. God's grace has been here with us from the very beginning. And if that doesn't help your soul to magnify the Lord, I don't know what will. So Keep praying. God bless you. Amen.